Hey guys, it's Ta. Welcome back. And if you're new, welcome. Thanks so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you. So today we are finally going to wrap up February. I thought I did this already, but I didn't. And I'm like, girl, what is your problem? February, parts of it just drug on for me. And some of it just flew by. So, meh. Alright, so for the month of February, I completed 16 books, which is 4,796 pages. And I DNF 2 books, but I didn't count those in my page counts because I didn't finish them, so I'm not going to count them. Okay, and I've already done one small review, well, 2 videos really, for a library haul that I did. I will link it down below. And that is Men Are Frogs, The Ex-Hex, and The Love Hypothesis. And then I also have 2 vlogs that are for the 12 Days of Book Club Miss book that I read to do the unboxing. I will link those down below as well. So the rest we'll do now. So the first one we'll talk about is Phantom Limb by Lucinda Berry. This one I thought was really good, but do check the trigger warnings before you read it. There was a lot going on in there. This is about twins, Emily and Elizabeth, who grew up basically locked in their room, and then eventually they got to be locked in the apartment so they could like move around. Their mom was an alcoholic, and she would disappear for days. But there was other things her mom did to them that you find out later, and eventually the girls were rescued and adopted to a loving family, but it took a lot for them to open up to these people. They probably really didn't even eventually wind up opening up because it was so much trauma at such a young age that they didn't know anything else. They didn't know what pure love was. So this family took them in, and then we're watching. It kind of jumps forward, more like adulthood, and you get little flashbacks of it. And Elizabeth, she wakes up in the hospital, tied down to a bed. She can't talk and she can't move. The last thing she remembers is finding her sister's body in their bathroom. So from the hospital, she winds up in a mental health type facility or whatever, and she has to do this program, and in that there are counselors and things like that. She has to basically relive like her past, and slowly her like her mind starts to fill in the blanks of what happened, because she purposely made herself forget. So like I said, lots of trigger warnings there. Make sure you guys check those before you read it, but definitely worth the read. It was, when the twist started coming, I was like, whoa, I didn't see all of that coming, but it was so good. And the next book I read was Most Eligible Billionaire by Anika Martin. And this one was pretty funny. This is about Vicky, who, according to this older lady, is a dog whisperer. And what happens is her friend owns like a, what is it called? Like a rescue type thing. And Vicky makes handmade collars and stuff for dogs. She sells in her Etsy shop. And her friend had a pet whisperer coming to this event she was hosting, and the person didn't show up. They couldn't make it or whatever. So she got her friend to pretend, and you know, she was just making stuff up about what the dogs would think. And this one lady, she basically attached herself and like she almost stalker like did. She kept following her around, trying to get her to talk to her dog again and all this other stuff. So finally the girl was just like, whatever. So she hires the girl's younger sister to walk the dog. That way she has like an in to the dog whisperer. So this lady pretends to be the whisperer for the older lady. And come to find out, the lady's, after however many years it was, her health is starting to decline and she's pretty much gonna die. And little does Vicky know, this lady is actually worth a lot of money. Like, she owns, they have her and her ex-husband have a company. Her son is the CEO, like all this stuff. And she leaves the business, like she leaves everything that she owns to the dog named Smuckers. And Vicky is Smuckers' handler, and they have to go to the board meetings and all this stuff. And Henry, the son, who is the CEO, is like, this woman's a con artist. Like, they're trying to get her to fess up, and she's like, no, I didn't do this. Like, your mom did this, not me. And so she thinks, you know, he's really hot or whatever, and then she realizes, like, he seems kind of arrogant, and so she makes his life living hell when it comes to these board meetings. But eventually you get to see the connection between the two and how it works out, and you follow their journey, getting to know one another outside of the boardroom and outside of this, what they're gonna call a scandal that his mom basically did. So it was really cute to follow the journey and to see how she reacted to Smuckers getting all this money and how she whispers what he's thinking. So that one was a really good, really cute read for me. And then we had Cemetery Boys. This is by Aiden Thomas, and this is about Yadriel, I believe is how you say it. He's a young trans boy trying to prove to his family that he can be a brujo, which a brujo is, in the story it says that they are the ones that release the spirits of the dead and help them to get to their final, like, resting place. It is a Latinx family, and his dad doesn't want him to, you know, do that. His mom passed away, and like, she believed in him, but it's trying to convince everybody else. So what happens is, him and his cousin Maritza, they go to the graveyard, and with her help, they do the little ceremony that basically says, hey, I'm a brujo. And then they find a spirit to release, and they think that is his cousin that got murdered. But come to find out, it was Julian Diaz, which is the resident bad boy of school. They find him, he didn't even know he was dead. And they're with him trying to backtrack everything he did to figure out why is he dead. So you go on the journey of them trying to figure out why this boy is dead and what happened to him. And you get to see Yadriel work with the spirit, and then obviously it all has to come to a head, which I'm not going to tell you what happens. But super good book. I didn't expect a little twist for it that happened, but very good book. I was very intrigued the whole time. Like, I read it almost all in one sitting. So definitely check that one out if you haven't. Like, it didn't even take me 2 days to read it. Like, I was done in less than 30 hours. But that one was really good, and I liked the representation in it. So yeah, definitely one to look at. And then next we had Nothing to Lose by Claire Lydon, which I will pop up here. And this one is a lesbian romance. This is about Scarlett, who she lives in a basement apartment, and she's woken up in the middle of the night by the police telling her she has 30 minutes to get out because her apartment is about to flood. And they are all brought to the, like, visitor center or whatever. And from there, they're placed within the building, and the mayor, Joy, she has taken some people to her house because her house is not flooded. So the girl, Scarlett, she is in the center, and she realizes that she's gonna have to sleep in the corner over there with all the singles, and there's like no cots for them to sleep on, like bare minimum for them to deal with. So she decides to take a chance, and she goes to the mayor's house and pretends like she was just behind schedule getting there. So the mayor lets her in, you know, she's able to have a place to stay. So from that point, we learn that the mayor hasn't come out publicly to everyone that she is gay, but she was married to a man. They're divorced, and she's trying to figure out her sexuality, I guess, like come to terms and how to come out and be honest and open with it. So we watched her and Scarlett go through this. Scarlett is a divorced lady. The last girlfriend, you know, the wife she had, really ran her through the ringer when it came to the divorce. So we get to watch their relationship blossom and all the things that happened with the flood, and then how they raise awareness for people who were flooded to get like donations and stuff, and just make it worldwide news, I guess. But just their relationship, just to see how they progress, was super cute. It was a very easy read. It wasn't anything strenuous about it. It just kind of flowed out, and it was enjoyable. So check that one out if you like a good lesbian romance. And then we had The One and Only Ivan by Catherine Applegate. And this is about Ivan, who lives at the mall zoo type thing. And he's been there for a while. He has his own little area, and he paints. His paintings are sold in the gift shop. He has lots of human interaction. He's not an actual like gorilla. Like, he doesn't know how, I guess, to act like one. And then he has a really good friend who's an elephant. And unfortunately, we have to suffer a loss. And he also has another friend who is a dog, which is great little dog. He has lots of good one-liners in here. And this little baby elephant shows up at the mall that he's at. And the man who runs it, he's trying to earn more money so that they can stay open. And so he brings in the elephant, and then we get to see the process of the elephant getting there and learning how to adapt and how she interacts with Ivan throughout the process. And then we get to see there's changes that are going to be happening around this mall. And it all starts with this little elephant right here with her coming in, and then Ivan's paintings, of course. So it was super cute, middle grade. And I find it would be really easy for kids to read. You know, you got big spaces between the words, so a couple illustrations in there as well. I think kids will enjoy it. I know I did. I'm a big kid, but I'm just saying. And then the next one was Him, Her, Him Again, The End of Him by Patricia Marks. And this one is just about, to me, it was like toxic relationship type stuff, where you're with a dude, you're not with him, and then you get back with him, and then you're with him, and back and forth, back and forth. So you get to see the main character in the book. What is her name? Like I said, it's been a while since I read this. Like, I did it at the beginning of the month. Sylvia, I think is her name. Could be wrong, but anyway. So this woman meets this guy, and they kind of, you know, start hooking up or whatever, and they're together, and then they're not, and she moves, and then he shows up where she's living, and she thinks this is it, and then before you know it, it's not. It's just her fixation is her first boyfriend, and she's just like attached to him. But He's toxic, if you ask me. He had some funny stuff in here, and some of it just kind of drug on because it's like, girl, he's just not that into you. Like, he's just not your one. But it was pretty good. And then we have Still Mine by Amy Stewart. This was like, what do you call it? Like a mystery suspense type thing. Claire is on the run from her husband. It's again, another toxic relationship. And she has some secrets of her own, and she goes to this town called Blackmore, and she's asking about a girl who went missing named Shayna Fowles. And of course, when you're brand new into town, you come in and you're asking questions. People are going to be like, who are you? What do you want? Type thing. So we find out that she was hired to go and find this missing person. So we get to watch her kind of struggle with the locals to get any information that she can. And then once the information starts piling in on her, you get to see her put the puzzle together and see if she can locate this woman, either dead or alive. It just, how soon can she get there? So this one was pretty cool. You had some secrets come out about people in the town that it's kind of like, oh, I didn't see that, but it comes out. So this one I thought was really good. And I want to see if whatever else this lady Amy Stewart has. I really liked her writing. It was very easy to read. I didn't get, sometimes when you're reading like a thriller, you kind of get lost where stuff's starting to get revealed. I don't feel like I did. I feel like I followed it pretty well and I kind of stayed with it. So that's a plus. All right, the next one is Dead Woman Walking by Sharon Bolton. This is another kind of thriller mystery type suspense, in my opinion. And this one is about two sisters that, as you're reading it, it's like a back and forth, like so many years ago, today, so many years, back and forth until you meet the present time. So you kind of got to keep track of that. But other than that, the story just kind of flows. There's some stuff that, like, it starts out when they're kids and all this other stuff, and it kind of tells a story of why one of the sisters is a nun and the other one is a police officer. And what happens is the police officer's sister wants to take the nun sister on a birthday surprise, which would be a hot air balloon ride. And so for her 40th birthday, they go and they get on this hot air balloon ride, and there's like 13 other people, or 13 people total. 13 people total. So 12 passengers and one operator of the vehicle. And they're in the hot air balloon and they witness something on the ground of a crime/murder. There's a man he hit a woman as they were flying over that area. And they all saw it. There was pictures taken. And the killer, he saw the very clear face of one of the sisters. So at this point, he starts chasing the hot air balloon, trying to knock it down, trying to make it crash, and eventually it does crash. And everyone is dead except for one person, which is one of the sisters. And the sister she's trying to get away. She's trying to find somewhere to go so that she's safe, but she can't trust the police because some of the police are in cahoots with this dude's family. And she just doesn't know what to do, so she goes on the run to try to find somewhere safe to be so she can contact the people she needs to contact. But this man is very relentless because he's seen her face. He knows she had a phone out and was taking his picture of this crime. So while we're watching him chase her and we're getting her life story with her siblings back and forth, we learn about their childhood and we learn about the things that this family of this man, they are doing, and they start to uncover all of that. And it's very horrible stuff that they're doing. And we get to see how it all kind of plays out. So this one was really good. I think I read this one in like 2 days. And I didn't think I would, because this is one that I got from the Dollar Tree. Because sometimes with Dollar Tree books, it's hit and miss. This, to me, was a hit. I really enjoyed this story. And then the next one was The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And this one is about Avery. Avery is poor, basically. Like, they're living check to check type stuff. And her plans are, let me just finish school, go to college with, you know, with a scholarship, and better things will happen in my life. Her mom died. I think her dad left. And instead of going into the system, her sister, her older sister, took her in. And she didn't have to, but she did. And then one day, Avery's going to school. She gets called into the office. Next thing you know, she's being told that this man who's like a billionaire, huge amounts of money, left her an inheritance. And the only way she can get it is she has to move into the manor, and basically they like solve a puzzle to figure out the situation. But in the meantime, the family of the guy, they're all like beside themselves because they have no idea who this girl is. This girl has no idea who they are, no idea the connection to this old man. Like, she's never met this man, and they keep saying, oh, you swindled my grandpa type thing, and she didn't. And so we get to watch her figure out who she can trust, who she can't trust, find the hidden things that she needs to in order to solve this. And I absolutely enjoyed following this story, getting the clues with them to see, like, obviously I'm not in the house she was in, so I can't kind of jump ahead and see where stuff would be, but it was entertaining to see what clues the old man left to them and like how they lined up. And then it's left off on a huge cliffhanger, which we know because on the back the next book is already there. Like, this came out like a while ago. Let's see how old this book is. 2020. So yeah, it's 2 years old. So yeah, I think there might be a third book coming out too, but highly addicting to me. Like, I didn't want to put this one down either. And this, I think, is a YA book, if I'm not mistaken, but it didn't feel like it. Let's see, 12 plus years old. It didn't feel 100% like a YA normally does. I cannot wait to read the rest of this series. I don't know how many books it's going to be. Like I said, I know for sure we have this one that I already read, and then we have the next one that is the Hawthorne Legacy. So definitely 2. Maybe we'll get more. We shall see. But I liked her writing style as well, and I know a lot of people really enjoyed this one, and I am definitely on the bandwagon of this series. All right, and then we had Bad Call by Stephen Wallenfels. And this one was about 4 guys who played a poker game, and they were like, we're going to go camping, and we're going to go to Cannabis Cove. And whenever you have poker vows, they can't be broken. So it's time to leave, and they figure out that one of the guys is not coming. So the main ringleader, I say, his name is CEO, like spelled CEO, but I'm assuming it's pronounced CEO. He decides to invite a girl that he knows named Ellie, because he thinks that Ellie and one of the other guys, Colin, would hit it off. So we're doing all that. And then the third guy, his name is Graham. He's the one driving. And he has this habit of going into like this Jamaican accent. And most people, like, they find it very annoying in the book, which I'm okay with it. I don't care. You can do whatever you want, little guy. So they wind up going to in this park, and they encounter a snowstorm that shouldn't have been there, but all of a sudden it showed up. And they are left with little resources, and they have to try to get out of the snowstorm. But then one of them goes missing. And is it just missing, they're saying? Yeah. Desperate to survive while piecing together what happened, the remaining hikers must decide who to trust in this book. Yeah, then one of them doesn't make it back to the tent. So one member of the group doesn't make it back that night to go to sleep, and they have no idea where he's at, what's going on. So they try to find him the next day, try to find the person, and they can't. So they're at that point, like, there's snow coming down like crazy, and they just feel like they're gonna die. So they have to find their way out of the mountain and hopefully get somewheres where they can get help back in the mountain to find said missing person. So we get to see how they turn against each other, and some of it, whew, they get dirty with each other, man. I wouldn't want, if these are their friends, I don't need friends like this at all. So worth the read. But I kind of wished it wouldn't have been such a long ride into when we finally get to the mountain. There's like a whole lot of stuff that maybe I didn't need to know, that he could have summarized more. But 3-star, like, I liked it, but maybe there could have been less of the way into the story, I guess, and more of the actual action of the story. But still pretty good. And I did get this from a subscription box. I don't remember which one. I think it was one that I got on Etsy or something. So thanks for that, whatever that was. That was, like I said, it was a pretty good read. I enjoyed it, but I needed less boring, let's get to the point, and give me more of the action of when this person goes missing and, you know, find them and all that stuff. And then we had Nicholas and the Gang, and this is just a short story collection of Nicholas and his friends, like, at school and things they do on the weekends, and it's just what little kids telling a story. Cute stories. Nothing really more than that. Whoops, didn't mean to slam that down. And then the last one that I actually finished was called Priest by Sierra Simone. This one, I liked it, but I didn't, if that makes sense. It was about a man who is a priest. He had been a priest for 3 years. His reason for joining up was because that his sister, she committed suicide. He was the one, I believe, to find her. And she left a note explaining why, and it was because a priest, their priest when they were growing up or whatever, had molested her and others. So she put those names out there to help those people. And of course the church shunned them, turned away from them, because that's just what they did. I'm not going to get into religious things at this point. So this boy, what is his name? I can't remember his name. But he decides he is going to become a priest and set things right, change things in the church community. And, you know, he's been celibate for 3 years. He's had his faith in God, and everything's going great. The parishioners love him in the area he's in. His family has finally accepted that this is what he is, because there was a tough time because of what happened to his sister, that the family just at first wouldn't accept it. And then one day, here comes this girl, and she shows up at confession, and she starts confessing to him her sins. And again, like I said, 3 years as a priest, he is stuck by what he was taught to do. She comes in and turns his world upside down, and he's doing everything he can to resist her, But there's just something about this girl that he is attracted to, and he starts thinking things that a priest shouldn't think. And, like, don't get me wrong, it was hot. Yes, spicy, steamy, the whole 9 yards. But, there's a but. Like, I understand that he's the priest, and the priest should not commit a sin willingly, purposefully. But, of course, when a kid is gifted candy, what are they going to do? They're going to eat it. And if you're going to do the deed and go down that road, you know, you got to have some responsibility for it. And my negative thing with this book was, yeah, you did it. You and her, you know, you got together, whatever. But then you whined and complained and cried about how you sinned and all this stuff. And you're like, I promise I'll never do it again, sir. But you did it again and again. Like, you can't. He was just too emotional for me. Absolutely too emotional. And, you know, the whole priest thing, kind of taboo-ish. I get that. But if you go and commit a sin, sir, willingly, multiple times, I'm going to need you to own up to it. Don't cry and beg for forgiveness. If you just going to do it again, no. If you're going to do it, own up to it. Stop crying about it. So I would not be continuing that series because I feel like, even if it's different characters, I feel like they're going to be somewhat of the same vibes of, I shouldn't, but I'm gonna, but then I'm going to feel really bad about it. And I'm going to cry like a baby. And that's just how I felt. Like, don't get me wrong. The sex scenes were hot. Like, she can write. But I just didn't like the priest. I didn't like him and the way he handled afterwards and stuff like that. So maybe I'll see if she has any other series that are worth reading. But that series, I really don't think I'm going to continue it. So yeah, those are all the books that I actually completed. And then the DNFs were The Favorite Sister by Jessica Knoll. I probably got like 20% into this. And I couldn't deal with the main character anymore. Like, she's talking about, like, from what I can gather, she's a larger girl. And, you know, women's rights and all this other stuff. And I'm for it. She just kept going on and on about the same thing. And I couldn't deal with it anymore. At one point, there was a line that got repeated like, I don't know, 5-10 times. And I couldn't deal with that. So I said, nope, I'm not forcing myself. There are too many good books out there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to DNF it. And then the second one I DNF'd was my Reese Witherspoon book, which was Conviction by Denise Mina. And this one, I didn't get it. Because, like, it's a mom, and she wakes up, and, you know, she's going to listen to her podcast, like murder podcasts and stuff, which I'm all for. Go for it, girl. I like a good murder podcast. Or true crime, whatever. But the thing was, her whole life imploded that day because as she's listening to the podcast, she hears a name that she knows. She legitimately knows this person. She has talked to him. They smoked together. They drank together. Like, she knows this person. And then before you know it, her husband shows up downstairs with a suitcase and all this shit. And this was the part that really irked me, is he was cheating on her with her friend. And he shows up, like got the friend to show up and basically told her in her face, like, hey, we're together now. Like, we're not married and we're getting a divorce. I'm taking your best friend and I need my kids to come with me to meet her family. And it's like, how do you do that? How do you show up at another female's house knowing you stole her husband and not let him explain it, but just show up? Like, he tells you to be there and you show up, and this is how she finds out that he's cheating on him. I didn't like that part. And then I also didn't like the story that we're living in, you know, real time. Her life is falling apart. But then she flashes back to memories with the guy that was mentioned in the podcast. And I was like, okay, whatever. But then you're reading the podcast as well. So it's kind of like 3 different stories going on at once. And I just couldn't follow it. I didn't know what was what at that point. It was just too confusing for me to figure out. Maybe one day I'll go back and try again. But as of right now, no. I'm done. So done with that book. So maybe my next Reese Witherspoon book will be better. Because my March one, it is nonfiction. So maybe I'll learn something from that one, because I didn't learn shit from this past one. So anyway, that is all the books that I read for the month of February. And like I said, anything that I haven't talked about, I will... Ow. I just stabbed the crap out of myself. I will link down below my other reviews on my library books, and then also the unboxing of the Once Upon a Book Club box for December. I did that in February because I just couldn't wait any longer. And yeah, so I will see you guys soon with something else. And I'm going to try to do March a little bit different, because there's so much, like, I probably forgot about these books, and I really maybe could have explained them better. So I'm going to try to discipline myself for the month of March. As soon as I finish reading it, I'm going to film you guys a little clip of what my fresh thoughts, like very fresh thoughts. So that's what I'm hoping to accomplish in March. We shall see if I can stick to that. But if not, I'll do my best to remember. So, like I said, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.